And one day I got a call from a colleague, and he was like, Patrizia, I found something online, nude photos of you. Okay, then I went online, and yeah, it was 31 pictures of me, naked, in chains, having sex with different men.
Czech Center for Investigative Reporting and Dark Riviera present Protagonista, a war room content project hosted by Pavla Holcová. Protagonista puts investigative reporters at the heart of the story. Patrizia Schlosser is a German investigative journalist. Her career began exposing political extremism. She now investigates online porn platforms that profit from non-consensual videos of women. Patrizia, how did you get into journalism?
Well, I guess like a lot of people, unpaid internships, a lot of them.
Why did you decide to... You studied journalism. Why?
No, I didn't study journalism. I studied literature and history of Middle East. And I did a traineeship at the Bayerischer Rundfunk, which is part of the German radio and television broadcasting system.
What brought you from, unpaid internship to actually being investigative reporter, and a really good one?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it has to do with my father, because he worked as a policeman in the murder department and later white collar crimes. And
worked back home talking about...
Yeah, he talked about it.
And we found this beautiful dead body, in a stage of decomposing.
And my mother was a nurse, and she was also talking about dead bodies. So a lot of dead bodies in normal talks at the table in my family. But no, I wanted to say with this that maybe there's a kind of disposition for, to the joy in finding clues or try to find things out or something like that.
So what was your first big investigative story?
It was a crazy idea. It was about left-wing extremism, about a terror organization in Germany, the Red Army Fraction. They were active in the 80s and 70s mostly. And they were still, they disbanded themselves, but there were still people underground, 2 men and 1 woman. And I wanted to find them and talk to them. So that was my crazy idea.
Army, what are you doing? Because no one hears about you. Or what was the idea? Just to know what they are doing? Or?
To know why they wanted to be part of a terror organization. I wanted to know why people choose violence. I didn't find them, of course, but it was a nice way to explore all this left-wing extremism and why people decide to go for violence.
Why do people choose violence?
It's not like I can tell this to you in like one sentence or something. It's complicated, but I think it doesn't matter if it's left or right or it's Islamic. It's more or less the same. I'm not fascinated anymore by this question. I'm more like disillusionated or something like that. Yeah.
And then you kind of stayed with radicals and you tracked Combat 18, what is kind of a neo-Nazi group, if I understand it right.
Yeah, correct.
How does it work when you track people and you try to convince them that, talk to me, I'm investigative reporter?
Well, in this case, I have to say we didn't even try to talk to them because it was not possible. They're so far away in their mind that
far right.
Far right, yeah, exactly. That it's not really possible to talk to them. But we tried to track down their emotions and their connections in Germany to other groups and to try to find out what their heading to? What are their goals? What are they going for? And we visited this Nazi festival that took place at that year of the investigation.
You don't really look like Nazi. How did you?
Yeah, we tried to disguise ourselves, but I really have to say, it was stupid to do that, because it was kind of naive to think that you can
fit in.
Yeah, just be like, okay, next week this festival is going to happen. Come on, we make some preparations. What could I wear? Maybe something, I don't know, just black. And I went in the festival together with my partner, also a journalist at that time. And we pretended to be just a normal couple, because it would have been strange if I would have been there alone. But we didn't look like Nazis. We didn't have tattoos. And I had this black shirt on, which looked like left. And so it was all wrong. And then there were also really left-wing people there, and they were talking on social media about the fact that they were there. And then Nazi security people thought me and my partner were this left people talking on social media, bragging about their inside, and they made it. And then we were put to the side and questioned by the Nazi security team. And that was really frightening, because there's no police inside this area. And so we were on our own. Yeah, I think it was very close that they would just beat us up. But somehow we managed to tell them, no, it's all fine, and ha ha ha.
No, we are just journalists.
Right. No, just visiting, just interested, just curious and stuff like that. And they let us go, and then we left the festival. But yeah, it was just a very frightening experience. Yeah.
In 2020, just fast forward, and that's what I would like to talk to you. You got into reporting on porn and revenge porn. So could you just take me to the point when, you decided, or what motivated you to get into such a quite difficult topic?
I never, with my researchers, I never been like, this would be interesting. Let's try to get into that or something. It's just like it happens. I read something and then I think it's interesting and it would be interesting to dig into that. And it was the same with porn. I just read an article about illegal content on xHamster.com, the porn site that is now famous for this kind of content, like abusive videos and photos, non-consensual stuff. And I read about a community of people on this porn site that they are doing like non-consensual abusive videos of women in bathrooms, like under the shower, on toilets, a lot on toilets. Like sometimes the camera, like spying on women on toilets. Sometimes the camera was built right into the toilet seat so that you have like the genitals close up, and you also get the faces of the women, so they are identifiable, and this is kind of the goal for them, not just have the genitals, but also expose the women on this porn site. And
why would anyone watch it?
There are a lot of people. I don't know. I think it has to do with misogyny. I think it's a goal for them to make the women feel ashamed, to like, we got you. Something like that. And I wanted to know who's doing stuff like that. And is this community really that big? That was what was interesting me. And so I tried to find
online.
Them. I went online and
to porn site xHamster.
Yeah. And then I just browsed around.
Well, you just explain me step by step how you did it, because I don't think many of the people would just open their work computer and go to the porn site. That's and just colleagues, come bring me coffee. Now let's watch porn together.
Well, I was just curious, so I typed in the keywords the people used, like spy cam, woman on toilet, and stuff like that. And I found a lot of videos and photos, and I saw that there's a big community bragging about how they did this and how they did this to their wives and to their friends and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I want to know who are the perpetrators. Are there some from Germany also in this community? Because it's international. It's really, I think it's an issue everywhere. And then I discovered very soon that I can only watch the videos, but not all of them. And also people don't like to talk to me if I don't have own material, because they are like this close community, you know, and they don't want, of course, somebody getting into that who's not with them. So very soon I was like, okay, I have to bring own material, but how? Yeah, I didn't.
You can install the camera in your toilet, you know.
Yeah, I did that.
No.
Yeah. But I didn't put it into the toilet. I put it on a chair next to the toilet, and I filmed myself peeing, but only that you don't see my face. Of course, you only see part of my body, so you don't really see anything interesting. And I pretended it was my first try. It didn't get so well, but here that's my material, and it worked. People were like, "Oh, nice first try," and her leg looks nice, stuff like that. And so that opened the door for me to this community. Yeah, it was enough. And then I could chat with other people who are doing way more disgusting videos.
So did they give you advice how to do it next time?
Yeah, they told me maybe you should try to get it more close up the camera, to put it inside the toilet seat and stuff like that. Or maybe I pretended that it's a friend I was filming, and they were like, or maybe you can ask her next time if she also wants to take a shower at your place, because I said we play tennis together, and sometimes afterwards she's at my bathroom. Yeah. And from there I chatted with some German perpetrators on the site, and could find out in one case where he took all the videos. It was at a German music festival, and so he put it in a Dixie toilet, in a public toilet. Yeah, it was gross. Yeah, for sure, and it was ugly to watch all these videos, and I feel sorry for the women, because you are disgusted. I mean, it's a Dixie toilet. It's really ugly. And from there, we could identify some of the women in another case. And from there, we finally made it to the perpetrators. And we identified them both. And I could talk to one of them on camera. He confessed that he did it. And he was not...
He was not ashamed. He was...
Oh, he was ashamed. Yeah.
He was ashamed because he did it, or because you caught him?
I think because it was known then that he did it. I mean, he did it for a long, long time, I think for years. And he was bragging about it. He even sold his videos on xHamster.com. Yeah.
To whom?
To people. He told them, like, I have more. If you want more,
pay.
Yeah. And he was not, maybe you have this cliche in mind of some, I don't know, loser guy who, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I do.
Yeah. But it's not the case. He was like a popular guy. He had a girlfriend. He was well known in his community. He had a lot of friends. And of course, all broke down after this came out. And he had to leave his community of friends.
But you didn't only talk to the perpetrator on a cam, you also managed to find some of the victims, right? And you talked to them.
Yeah.
What was their story? How did you approach them? How did you convince them to talk to you?
Yeah, I think that was maybe the hardest part of this research, because it's so uncomfortable to tell somebody, I saw you in a video, you went on the toilet, you were in a bathroom and stuff like that. I
have
saw
pictures here. Yeah, it's pretty much your face.
Yeah. It's really you don't want to be the messenger of this, of course.
They didn't know before?
They didn't know. No, in both cases they didn't know. in the festival case, I have to say, to make it complete, I didn't talk to any of the victims. We couldn't identify one of them because it was this festival. It was not easy to find them. But in another case, it was a guy who was filming his friends in his own private bathroom. So when they were visiting him, he was filming them. And they were shocked, of course, and they were also angry, and they were also very afraid of me, that I will they didn't know me.
Them?
No, not blackmail, but that they didn't know what to expect from a journalist. So they were like afraid that they will, they had this image in their head like boulevard stuff, that I will like, they are on the toilet, here are the photos, that I would make them public. And I told them, of course, that's not my goal. But still, you can see, I think it's this, you experience that we live in a patriarchal world, and the mechanisms, they work. Women feel ashamed if they hear from somebody, you are on a porn site. It doesn't really matter if they put themselves on the porn site or it was non-consensual, they still are ashamed and very afraid that somebody will find out. And then it's like, she's on a porn site. And that's like horrible for a lot of women. What will my parent think? How will it be at my workplace? What will people talk about me? And I tell them, no, I didn't want it, but still, she's on the porn site. Stuff like that. I think that's on their mind. And I can understand it, of course.
So what did you tell them? Like, I want to talk to you because I found you
on
the website.
I found you on the website, and I want to know who's behind it, who did this. And at the end, it's not nice to hear that, but it's better to know it than to not know it, of course. And we can stop it together. And maybe you will help other women too, who are in a similar situation. If we can expose the system. And one of the women talked to me. I met her for an interview. And the other one was more complicated, but with time, over a lot of months and months, we had a connection. And then she recognized, okay, it must be my friend who did all this. Yeah. And it's also strange because a lot of times when they are told, hey, there are photos or videos of you, they have an idea who it could be. Because sometimes there's this kind of guy who is
really pushing them to go to the bathroom.
No, but who is like kind of acting a little bit strange. But maybe you are nice because you want to be nice to the guy. He's a friend, he's a little bit strange, but you think you have to like help him.
After talking to the perpetrators, after talking to the victims, you got into uncovering the structure, who's behind xHamster porn platform.
Yeah, it seemed like the next logical step, because first it was like, who is behind this kind of videos? And then the question was, but what the fuck is this? Is this a porn site who has all these videos? Yeah, it showed that it's not that easy, that the people want to hide. So it's very hypocritical. They have all this material on the site exposing women, but they themselves don't want to be fined.
For me, the question is, we all know that they make tons of money. But if you look, for example, into the Czech business registry of the companies that are running porn platforms, their official annual turnover is something like 40,000 euros, what absolutely does not correspond to the amount of traffic. And their explanation quite often is, we offer the porn for free. We don't make money on it.
Yeah, it's a big money machine. It's just clicks and clicks and clicks and advertisement. So this is how it's funded. And I talked to a guy, Fabian Tillmann. He owned one of the biggest porn sites in the past. It was called YouPorn. Maybe you heard about that. And he told me that, he thinks that xHamster will make, he estimated, around $500,000 per month.
Per month? €500,000.
Profit. Yeah.
Wow.
And but we could only find in the official records €700 in the last years. So there was a lot of money that was somehow not there. And when we told Fabian Tillmann that, he was really laughing. He was like, yeah, well. So there was a big gap, and we tried to follow this money. We got all these official records, and it was like a entangled web of companies, and with a lot of offshore companies on the British Virgin Islands. And with time, we discovered that there are a lot of companies with directors that are only frontmans. And at the end, we found one company, and this was the company who really was owning this porn site, but you couldn't see it at the beginning. It was very opaque. And this company was owned by 2 Russian men. And they founded the porn site in Moscow, really in the home of one of the guys, like in his family home. And he moved to Cyprus. He got a golden visa, he and his wife.
So he bought a visa.
Yeah, he bought the visa. And now he's living in Cyprus.
Why do you think they are hiding?
I think they are hiding because it doesn't have a very good reputation, for one thing, to own a porn platform. One of the owners of Pornhub once said in an interview that he is afraid that somebody will come and burn his house down because some people who, hate porn. But I think it's not about that porn is filthy. It's about the fact that they have all this illegal, non-consensual content on their sites, and they're doing things that are not good, not nice to other people. And so I think they want to hide this.
You can honestly say there's a lot of abuse on the porn sites. At the same time, those people who profit from it are not reachable, and they are not held accountable because no one knows who they are.
It's very hypocritical of them, of course, to feel that they have the right to not be identifiable and having all this material on their sites with all these exposed women. Yeah, it makes me angry.
So what was your overall feeling after, diving into such a pile of abuse and humiliation? And was it self-pity? Was it pity? Was it shame? Was it anger?
It was anger, and
did it
a bit resignation?
Resignation?
Yeah, it's so much, and it's working so well. The system is working so well, and it seems like it will become even a bigger problem in the future. To change that, there must be like a whole turn of the world, that we don't live in a patriarchal world anymore, so that women don't feel ashamed. If it would be possible to change that, then maybe these porn sites could be stopped. But yeah, I don't think that will happen. And so I think it will go on, and will be even more because of all the possibilities with deepfakes now.
What leads me to, pretty much at one point you found yourself on a porn website.